Phew, we made it back in one piece. Just. To be perfectly honest, I thought we were finished there for a while. Oh, I know. What a lot of close shaves. There are so many carriages on the streets of London. We are very nearly flattened several times. Oh, no, I didn't mean that. Yes, I know. It was a marvelous defense, Naruhodo-san. It really was. I was in awe of you. Oh, thank you. And now that your fervent exploits have won us some more precious investigation time, let's see if we can't find some new clues for court tomorrow. Yes, let's do that. Is everything alright? I suppose. I still can't quite believe it, that's all. That I'm here in England working as a lawyer, I mean, in the Old Bailey no less. The truth is, it shouldn't be me, should it? It should be him standing in my shoes. It should be Kazuma. It was Kazuma-sama's wish that you follow him to Great Britain and work alongside him. Yes, I mean, I never had the chance to ask him exactly why, but he clearly had a plan. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him. And you're doing wonderfully, Naruhodo-san. I've no doubt that Kazuma-sama would say exactly the same if he were here with us. Thank you, Susato-san. Thank you. Okay, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I'm Genikidori122, and we are going to be continuing on. Last time, we once again went to court to defend Soseki-san, and we weren't able to prove him innocent quite yet, but we were able to buy some time by presenting a pretty valid argument that the person who says that he was attacked by Soseki-san, or rather poisoned, is a liar. And also, we did find the potential existence of the poison that could be analyzed. So we're gonna work that out this time, and hopefully we'll find some clues that will help us prove Soseki-san's innocence. So for now, let's talk to Susato and see what she has to say. It was quite a shock earlier today, wasn't it? When the victim himself turned up in court and took the stand. I know. Not only that, but then finding out that he's actually a bare-faced gas thief as well. Yes, that was certainly a surprise to us all. For a while, it seemed as though everyone had quite forgotten about Soseki-san poisoning the tea. Careful of your phrasing, Susato-san. He didn't poison anything. And there's more to this Mr. Shamsphere than we yet know. I'm sure of it. Mr. Shamsphere certainly wasn't the noble, upstanding man everyone thought he was at first. What's become of him, actually? I was told that he'd be returning to the hospital ward where he was receiving treatment. Oh, which one is that? Let me see. Ah, yes, he's at St. Bartholomew's, or Bart's, as Londoners call it. We know that place, don't we? Yes, we visited Miss Green there yesterday. It's the same hospital to which she was taken. Ah, yes, after Soseki-san stabbed her in the back. Do be careful of your phrasing, Naruhodo-san. He didn't stab anyone. Perhaps we both owe Soseki-san an apology. St. Bartholomew's. Yes, we should probably visit the hospital later. Alright, what's next? So, we know that Soseki-san took tea to the victim on the night in question, but as he is the culprit, then obviously... Yes, the poison surely wasn't in the tea. But if that's the case, how on earth did the poison get into Mr. Shamsphere's body? I'm sure we'll find a clue at the scene. There must be something in Mr. Shamsphere's room that will help solve the mystery. Well, naturally, Scotland Yard detectives have been over that place already. But it couldn't hurt for us to have another look around, I think. Definitely. And I'm desperate to know the outcome of the investigation into the tea left in the bar of soap. Well, if we run into Inspector Gregson, we could ask him about that. And now we talk about Kazuma's wishes. Kazuma Asogi, the best friend I ever had, and a lawyer with such promise. He really saved my bacon in that horrible incident just before we left Japan. I can still picture him now, looking so fierce and determined in court. And then after the trial, that crazy idea he came up with.
As a stowaway? Yes. You can fit inside my trunk if you curl up small enough, I'm sure. No one will know. Kazuma, won't you tell me why? Why go to these lengths so I can accompany you to Great Britain?
Well, it's been on my mind ever since we got through that trial. That you really ought to go into law. Be a defense lawyer. You've got a natural talent for it. Believe me, I guarantee it. But I've never even thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, I can't force you, obviously. You'll have to decide for yourself. But anyway, London is the cultural capital of the world, the city at the forefront of everything. It can't hurt for you to see it with your own eyes. No, that's true. I suppose, though, if you were to become a lawyer, then one day... One day what? Oh, no. Never mind. Naruhodo-san? Oh, sorry. I was just thinking about Kazuma. Yes, he's forever in my thoughts too. To change the Japanese judicial system for the better, that was his dream. And that's why he so desperately wanted to come to Great Britain to study, of course. Yes, that's right. But... Yes? I do wonder if his true intentions lay elsewhere sometimes. I don't know. The thought just takes hold of me every now and then, that's all. Kazuma's true intentions. Naruhodo-san, what do you mean by Kazuma-sama's true intentions? I mean this. His katana? I never expected to inherit this sword after Kazuma passed away, of course. No, I know. It was because I asked you to take it. When I have it at my side in court, I feel as though it gives me courage. Yes. Actually, the night before he died, he told me a little about the sword. Karuma? That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Asogi clan. A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Ryunosuke. I can't be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me. I truly believe that. So its name compels its wielder to slice evil in two? Not that you would need much compelling. On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain. Something you have to do? Yes. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me. Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you. I knew you wouldn't let me down. What did he mean by something very important that I have to do? I had hoped that the answer to that question would become apparent when we arrived here, but as yet, I've not found a single clue. I see. Alright, well, as we don't have anything to examine in here, I assume, I guess we're gonna go onward to other locations. I guess let's check out the Sholmes suite, see if Mr. Sholmes or Iris is here. Couldn't hurt to check anyway. Oh, Runo and Susie! Hooray! You're back! Hello, Iris. You're in fine spirits as always, I see. I am. And you look as immaculately presented as ever, Susie. Oh, you flatter me. Well, you couldn't have come at a better time. I just made a pot of tea. I'll set some cups. Really? Thanks, Iris. But actually, what is that foul smell? Aha! The Wanderers return at last! Where on earth have the pair of you been? In court. Could you prove our client guilty? We've been in court? Oh, for Mr. Musashi's case. That was today, was it? I'm sure I mentioned it only yesterday, Mr. Sholmes. I'm sure you think you did. Well, we can laugh about it now. So tell me, how did the trial go? Reasonably well so far. We've managed to escape without a guilty verdict at least. Really? I would have liked to see it. And I must pass the time of day with the Reaper again. It's been too long. Is Lord Van Zeek's an acquaintance, Mr. Sholmes? Naturally. There's not a person in the world who doesn't know my name, Mr. Naruhodo. Not quite what I asked, but still. Mr. Sholmes, whatever is that odor? Yes, what is it? It's faint, but absolutely awful. Ah, indeed. That's the scent of victory, my dear fellows. Victory in science! Oh dear. Alright, I'll bite. What's he up to now? Well, let's bite. Lord Beric Van Zeeks. Yes, it's an interesting oh my god, with these English words. Sobriquet he has, isn't it? The Reaper of the Bailey. Edda Griffin, please put up the definition for sobriquet. Thank you very much. Once a legendary prosecutor has fought for someone's conviction, that person is doomed. Even if he or she is found not guilty by the courts. Sooner or later, the hapless soul will vanish from the capital. But vanish how exactly? Why, falling under a passing carriage, or drowning in the Thames. Or succumbing to a sudden fever, or, quite out of the blue, being set upon by a highwayman. There are numerous routes to one's final terminus, my dear fellow. It all seems a little far-fetched, really. Well, on the bright side, Mr. Musashi is fighting fit. For the time being, at least. That's not overly reassuring. If the rumors are true, though, the obvious conclusion would surely be that those acquitted are, well, by Lord Van Zeek's own hand. As it happens, Mr. Sato, that is quite impossible. Oh? Why? Naturally, the man very quickly came under such suspicion. However, whenever these incidents occurred, the Reaper always had a cast iron alibi. Really? And so his reign continued, but 5 years ago, he vanished from the courts, never to appear as a prosecutor again. That is, until you arrived in the country, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, so I've heard. In fact, it was the very day I arrived, when I was thrust into that trial at the Old Bailey. That bitter fight to death coincided with the Reaper's resurrection. And really did end bitterly indeed. And here you are, facing Mr. Reaper again. Poor Runo. I don't know if you're just incredibly unlucky or incredibly unlikable. Oh my god, Iris! Get destroyed, Runo. I think it goes deeper than just me. I sense a general loathing of all Japanese people. Alright, well, just to kind of keep things on track, I think we'll talk about the racism first. Then we'll deal with the foul smell. With Mr. Natsume, who I'm currently defending, being Japanese as well as Miss Susato and myself, I felt it even more keenly in court today. For some reason, Lord Van Zeek seeks to have an inherent disdain of the Japanese. Indeed, it is an interesting observation. Do you know something about it? Do you, Mr. Sholmes? It was about 10 years ago that Barrick Van Zeek chose to enter the legal profession. However, before that time, the young man's closest companion hailed from the Empire of Japan. No! What the? Tell me more, Mr. Sholmes. What happened? I believe I've made it clear before. I'm unable to tell you anything about the affair. Oh, but... The veil will be lifted on the events of the past in due course, I have no doubt. For now, however, it is Mr. Moustache who is most deserving of your attention, I believe. Okay, fair enough. What's up with the smell? So, what is that indescribably foul smell? Ah, well, most probably this, I would say. What is that? My dear fellow, it is, of course, my latest invention. A chemical test that can identify whether or not a tea is genuine at the drop of some tea. Oh my! There are some unscrupulous sorts manning the stalls along some of London's less frequented streets. They regularly sell what purports to be high-quality tea, but is in fact merely dyed leaves of drab flavor. Well, that's certainly unsavory behavior. So, when one is presented with what appears to be black tea, one must be careful, Iris. At the ready, Hurley. Let us add a drop of my chemical to this cup of tea here. Do you see what happens? It turned completely black. And what a foul odor it's giving off. Indeed, the blacker the tea becomes and the more foul the odor, the better the tea is. It would appear that this cup was a particularly fine Darjeeling. That's very ingenious. But what do you do with that black liquid now? Why, dispose of it, naturally. Surely you wouldn't like to drink it, would you? There does seem to be a rather obvious problem with your new invention, Mr. Sholmes. Hence why this chemical test is merely a test, my dear madam. Right. The point is, we are entering a new era of science. In the world of criminal investigation, also. Yes, forensic science! Oh, these are such exciting times! I regularly engage in this scientific experimentation alongside my unofficial consulting detective work. The Herlock-Sholmes method will be the foundation upon which modern investigative technique is based. This little tea indicate was a happy byproduct of my ongoing forensic science research. Forensic science? I suppose I should find out more about that. Let's do it! So, your tea test, is that an example of forensic science? Indeed it is. An essential tool in cases that hinge on the knowledge of whether some tea is of high or inferior quality. Not a huge number of cases, then. Perhaps a more practical example is required. Fingerprints? Not yet accepted in our courts as evidence, I might add. Really, we are dragging our heels there. I hadn't even heard of them until recently. Which is partly why I undertake research in this field myself, of course. Does that mean you're studying fingerprints, Mr. Sholmes? There are others in that field already, and I abhor the company of inferior minds. No, what I'm researching is skin prints. Skin prints? a nomenclature of my own design, as is this chemical agent that makes it possible. It instantly reveals objects touched by whichever person is under investigation. Brilliant, Mr. Sholmes. As long as it doesn't turn everything completely odorless and black. I assure you, my dear fellows, you will witness my forensic talents in action very soon indeed. Well, I think we should go back to the scene and see if we can uncover any new clues. That's the spirit, Bruno. See you later. Yes, until later. No, Mr. Sholmes, we were thinking you'd come with us. You were? Yes, of course. You said so just a moment ago. You said we witnessed your forensic talents in action. Ah, yes, I do recall saying something along those lines. But you go on ahead. I shall be sure to follow you later, in all likelihood. Probably, maybe, well, I might. Your commitment astounds me. Oh, thank you, Mr. Sholmes. We eagerly await your arrival. Bye-bye, Bruno. Bye-bye, Susie. God bless Herlock Sholmes. Let's focus on Mr. Shansier's room, and then we'll take a look at, well, we'll go to the hospital. Try to make it in a somewhat logical order. Oh, hello again, Inspector Gregson. What are you doing here? Well, we were hoping to have another look around, actually. The lawyer representing the defendant has a right to examine the scene, as I'm sure you're aware. Yeah, I know the score. Oh, yes, one other thing. The soap on the ledge outside the window. Did you find it? With the tea in it? Yeah, we found it all right. And there's a small amount of tea in it, as you said. I knew it! It's with the identification section at the yard now. They're looking into it. The results should be available later today. That's wonderful news. Thank you. Pretty impressive performance in court this morning. Sorry? Nothing. Forget it. Just make sure you don't disturb anything in here. It just spawns in out of nowhere. My God! Mr. Sholmes, what are you up to over there? What a question indeed. Was it not your good self who asked me to attend the scene? Oi! What are you doing here, Sholmes? What are you up to over there? What are you doing here? Dear me, once a great detective, one is always under scrutiny, it seems. Is now the time, Mr. Sholmes? Are you about to show us your forensic talent in action as you promised? With the greatest of pleasure, my dear madam. What's all this? Ooh. All this is precisely what you requested, Mr. Naruhodo. Herlock Sholmes' sensational skin print seeker gun! Just shoots me in the face. Moments ago, I took a sample from the teacup that was used by the victim. A sample? From Mr. Shansier's cup? Each individual leaves microscopic secretions on everything he or she touches. A sample of those secretions is all I need to produce this, a refined indicator solution. By liberally spraying the room with this chemical, everything the victim touched is instantly revealed with the aid of these goggles. Here, try them on. There, now spray the chemical indicator about and all will be revealed. Spray? How do I do that exactly? A little press of A on the area you're interested in is all that's required. Like this. Ah, what is that stuff? It's like fog. A suspension of the chemical indicator in a pressurized gas. It's the most efficient way to cover a large area. That was another invention I discovered incidentally whilst I was developing this idea. As you do. Go ahead, try it, my dear fellow. We may learn something interesting about the victim's movements on the night in question. Well, there's nothing to lose, I suppose. Let's explore. Okay, nothing there. Okay, a few more there. So, there were handprints on the table, the chair, but also that box that seems to be there. Handprints on there that make perfect sense. Alright, all that's relatively logical. Handprints all over the windows, too. Look! There are dozens of handprints here! So there are. A great many indeed. So much so that it's hard to make out any one individual print, in fact. It sends a chill down my spine. Perhaps he was leaning against the wall while he admired this picture? Unlikely, I would say. It's a rather dull scene after all. And without wishing to state the obvious, you wouldn't generally admire a picture from such a close quarters, I feel. Oh, very true, Mr. Sato. It's a bit of a mystery then. Okay, so a lot of handprints there for some reason. Oh, look at all the prints here. Ah, yes. Interesting. A multitude of the victim's handprints. Why are there so many of them on the floor in this one spot? Oh, perhaps he had a bad fall just here? There's nothing obvious that he would have tripped over though, is there? I wonder. Personally, I often stumble when there's nothing obvious to trip over. I think that's something only a great detective would do, Mr. Sholmes. Well, this is quite a puzzle. Handprints all over the floor. Yes, there's no obvious explanation. Well, we sprayed Mr. Sholmes' amazing skin print indicator all over this room, didn't we? We did, but there are two places in particular that are of interest, I would say. The handprints on the floor there, and on the wall by the picture, you mean? Yes, and I think the floor warrants closer investigation. I won't be a moment. Ah! What is it, Mrs. Sato? Look here, Mr. Naruhodo. One of the floorboards has popped out. One of the... You mean... It's a secret hiding place? Excellent work, Mr. Sato. So, what do we have in here? Oi! What are you lot doing? Inspector Gregson, stand aside right this minute. It's my job to investigate there. No need, Inspector. You continue to dig into your portion of chips whilst we dig around under the floor here. Your fancy talk's putting me off my foot anyway, Sholmes. A new bit of evidence, exactly what I need. Wow, secret hiding place under the floor. What a find! It's not a hiding place you could make use of in Japan. I don't think I could lift a straw tatami mat. No, I know, but I never expected one of these wooden floorboards to move either. It's got me wondering about the wall over there too. Aren't you curious? Oh! I'll investigate at once. There's nothing behind the picture, sadly. Only the wall. How disappointing. But then, how do you explain the handprints? I really can't think why anyone would have been touching the wall over and over in one place like that. What? There you are, a print for you. Photograph of the handprints on the wall has been entered to the court record. Traces of handprints on the wall discovered using the skin print seeker gun. There are multiple prints on either side of a hanging picture. I guess we'll use this somewhere later. But honestly, I'm not sure how. Oh, thank you very much. This invention can make prints too? Now then, I wonder if Inspector Grayson has found anything under the floor there. I'm desperate to know! So am I! So, Gregson bro, how we doing? I'd love to know if there's anything hidden underneath the floorboard there. Allow me to ask Gregson now. After all, we're well acquainted. Inspector Gregson. Really? It's been too long. What is it, Sholmes? I thought perhaps you might show me what you found there, seeing as we're such good friends. We're not friends. No, I suppose not. Aww. A dismal failure. You're so... even when you fail, you are so enthused. I love you, Sholmes. Yes, I heard. Ugh, I'd kill to know what was under that floorboard. Alright then, fair's fair. What? You did discover the hiding place after all. I suppose I should at least fill you in. Really, Inspector? You thank you. Do it quickly, my dear fellow. If there's one thing I know about this man, it's that he blows with the wind as fickle as the weather. That is burn 2 for Ryunosuke today. Oi, stop making me have to be some kind of nut. Oh, he was telling me to hurry up and ask Gregson. Alright, well, counter burn it is. There were 3 items on the floor there. A newspaper clipping, a photographic print, and a tin box. Now, what do you want to know? Let's just go in order. Newspaper clipping. Looks like this was cut out of the paper about 3 months ago. It's about a convict who got sick and died while he was serving time up in Manchester. How terrible. It made the headlines down here in London as well. The bloke had been sentenced to death, you see, but nature got him first. Oh my goodness! He committed a capital offense? Man by the name of Selden. Nasty piece of work. In the burglaries and murder. They say the hoard he knocked off was worth about £1,000. A hoard? A treasure, you mean? Jewelry and the like, but he'd hidden it somewhere, and no one knows where, and now he's dead. The papers loved it, of course. £1,000 lost en route to hell, or some such was the headline. Does it not strike you, though? Why such an article would be so carefully ensconced under the floor? I suppose, now you mention it, it does seem a bit odd. Perhaps I'll go over the paperwork we've got on Selden back at the yard and see if I can turn anything up. The capital offender article has been entered into the court record. A newspaper article about Selden, a criminal sentenced to receive the death penalty. However, he died of illness in prison whilst his loot remained undiscovered. So that could potentially be something that we could use to prove a Shamsphere being a bad person, or even possibly the real attempted murderer's motivation for wanting to attack and kill Shamsphere. I don't know. Photographic print. So, this is the photograph I found. Looks reasonably recent to me. Yes, it would appear to have been taken on the street in front of the house here. And the gentleman on the left is Mr. Garadeb, the landlord, of course. But who's the young man on the right? Mr. Garadeb's son, perhaps? Perhaps. You can take that print if you like. I think that's Mrs. Green's husband, isn't it? Really? Are you sure? We can presume, therefore, that the yard already knows. The identity of the young fellow, that is? Ah! Is that true? Well, it's too bad if we do. Unfortunately for you lot, leaking information isn't one of my pastimes. My dear Inspector, if I may be so bold as to point something out. Pastimes are for one's leisure, but this is for work. Alright, that is 2 against Greg's and 1 against me. Everyone's getting destroyed today. All the more reason I'm not telling you. A dismal failure. Yes, I heard. The hidden photograph has been entered to the court record. A photographic print found in Mr. Chance's room. It shows the landlord, Mr. Gardev, together with a young man. I wonder why a photograph like this is hidden under the floor. I mean, Mr. Chansphere himself isn't in it. Photographic prints are so rare treasures in the East End. I imagine Mr. Gardev was rather delighted to have been immortalized. He probably made a proud present of it. Alright, and tin box. This is the thing I'm most curious about. Now, this tin box looks interesting, doesn't it? Might I suggest, Inspector, that you open it? If you were to find something inside that reveals the truth behind this case, I wouldn't be in the least surprised. Yeah, funnily enough, I've already had a look. It's completely empty. What? Shamsphere, give us a clue, man! You didn't even have the chance to utter a word, Mr. Naruhodo. But anyway, at least we found out what's inside the box. Yes, thin air. It's empty, rather like how I feel inside. Aww. And that's Ryunosuke 2, Gregson 2. Is there nothing more to this box then? I wonder. Cat! It is a pinnacle of adorableness. Brought back to our viewing pleasure once again. Oh look! It's that lovely little kitty cat. What was its name? It's Mr. Natsume's, isn't it? I don't think we ever asked him, actually. Why don't we call it, Wagahai? You know, like Mr. Natsume refers to himself in Japanese. I wonder how he got in here. Clever cat. Oh, wonderful. Well then, Wagahai, here's something delicious I bought for you from the Cat's Meat Man. Cat's Meat Man. Okay, that's a weird career. It's just a little too niche for me. Aw, it's so cute. I'm more of a dog person, but even I can acknowledge when cats are cute. So peaceful. He couldn't be happier now. Look. I just hope he can bring some happiness to his owner, too. Okay. I wish to examine the cat. That was a cheeky little meow, Wagahai. Oh, but he's so adorable. I could sit and watch him forever. I think he may not appreciate that after a while. And we have an investigation to get back to. Okay, well, let's just kind of examine more of the area. Guess we'll re-examine the table one more time. So it turns out that Mr. Chancellor wasn't eating the soup at all. That's right. The mystery of why he had it on a plate whilst holding a fork in his hand is solved. Yes, to prize his latest ice coin out of his mold. And in the process, he accidentally broke the bar of soap in two. It certainly was hard to imagine, let alone deduce. If you ran out of change, you wouldn't even have any light, let alone heat. For the needy, London's winters can be very harsh. That's true, but if you think about it, even the wealthy would find themselves freezing if they ran out of small change. London's winters can be very harsh for the forgetful too, then. Frankly, I'm starting to wonder if Suzoto-san and I are going to make it to spring. That's true. We don't even have a meter at Baker Street, let alone a gas stove. Stop reading my mind. Look how dark the stain of the floor is underneath the meter there. Yes, from all the water dripping out after the ice coins melted, as you established in court this morning. It's a very large and obvious stain, isn't it? Mr. Shanspeare must have used an awful lot of ice coins, I suppose. It was an ingenious idea, I'll give him that. Okay, let's see if there's anything else worth noting. I guess the cup can be examined. Ah, the ill-fitted teacups from which the two men drank on the ill-fated night. During their heated literary debate, yes. Who's stronger, Romeo or Juliet? Sounds like it was quite a discussion. Now, I think of it, I'm sure that the two lovers in the play ended their lives with poison. That's fiction, Mr. Sato. Let's hope it stays that way. Alright, and we'll examine the window now. The sun never shines in this room, thanks to that depressing bricked-up window. Yet, with enough determination, you can always remove the bricks to set some soap outside, can't you? That sounds like a very wise life lesson, Mr. Sato. Only if you plan to follow a life of crime, Mr. Naruhodo. Okay, so I think we've done everything that we can do in here for now, so I think we're gonna go elsewhere. So I don't think there's anything left to do in this particular area, so instead, why don't we go back to the hospital and see if we can't find anything interesting there. The rats have returned to grace us with their presence. If only we had a cat to get rid of them. This little kitty cat. What do you suppose is happening? It sounds like some sort of disturbance. Yes, I hear angry voices. Be not angry, O ample lady. Verily, thou art mistaken. Mistaken my foot. You're looking at my painting. The eye of man hath not heard, the ear of man hath not seen. 'Twas foul indeed, the poison that mustached villain gaveth me. Forgive me, lady. I wish that you died from that poison. God of mercy, ample lady, be thou seest, I have vigor still. Behold, my Shakespeare dance. Did he just dab? Yeah, no, it's a dab. It's a little off from the traditional dab, but that's a dab. This looks rather ominous, doesn't it? Ah, lo, 'tis the lawyer for the land whence riseth the sun. How now? What are you doing here, Mr. Shanspeare? Marry, I do believe I returned unto another ward. He was looking, that's what he was doing, looking at my terrible work. Eastern fellow, so darkly clad. Faith, thy work in court this morning was wonderful. I do applaud thee. Oh, well, thank you. But that doesn't mean things will go so wonderfully for you tomorrow, does it? How did you do that? What was that made out of? An awning suit. Mr. Shanspeare might technically be the victim in this case, but there's definitely a lot more to it than that. It's very hard to pin the man down. I'm so sorry. I'm such an awful person. Ah! This is Green! Please! Ah, Miss Green, is everything alright? Oh, yes, I mean, don't worry about me. They're about to discharge me, so I must get ready to leave now. Oh, I see. We're delighted that you'll soon be well enough to go home, Miss Green. Oh dear, you're too kind. I don't deserve it. Alright, well, we have some examining to do. The rant still persists. So, are you feeling more like yourself today, Miss Green? I am. Thank you. I mean, people do recover from ordeals like this, don't they? Even people like me. Well, yes, it really was an ordeal, wasn't it? As far as I was concerned, I was just walking along in the snow one evening, minding my own business. And then, completely out of the blue, I was struck in the back by a knife and collapsed unconscious for days. Of course, when I finally woke up again yesterday, the whole business had been cleared up already. What a terrible week it's been for you. Oh no, I'm sure I'm very lucky. Really, I'll look back on this fondly. Really? Anyway, I must be getting my things together now, so I'm ready to be discharged. Oh, yes, of course. Sorry to take up your time when you're obviously busy. There's this. This looks like the treatment notes for whoever's occupying this bed. Let's see. Do not permit to run around the hospital. The patient doesn't seem to be here at the moment, so he or she is probably running around the hospital then. Oh dear, how worrying. What's worrying is why they haven't discharged the patient yet. We examined this cabinet. What about this cabinet? There are all sorts of medicines in this cabinet. Look. I'm not sure if it's safe leaving them in reach of everyone like this. Yes, you're right. I can imagine if you were peckish, you might try a whole bottle or two. No. Well, at least there seems to be a little lock to secure the cabinet doors. I don't imagine that would stop you if you were hungry. I worry that you'd break the lock. Hunger doesn't turn me into a criminal, you know, Mrs. Sato. Yeah, but I technically, like, your need to stop criminals, your hunger for justice, as it were, did technically make you a criminal. Well, we've done what we can do here. I suppose we'll check a few other areas, see if anything new presents itself. Let's check Briar Road. Okay, I can already tell. There's nothing here. Let's try the Gyarados room. Mr. Gyarados appears to be out. Oh well, I suppose we'll just have to come back again later. Well, ain't this just a waste of time? There we go. There's our special guy. Oh, Mr. Natsume is back. So he is. Mr. Natsume, hello. I am a cat. What? I miss this game, but God, this game is weird sometimes. Sorry? I don't know who Mr. Natsume is, or Herlock Sholmes. I don't know about courts or trials, or Old Baileys. I am a cat. That's what I am. Just a cat. Mr. Naruto, though, he's trying to escape from reality! He already has! Completely! So, what is your name then? As yet, I have no name. Mr. Naruto, he hasn't fully thought out his new identity yet. Maybe it's not too late to bring him back to reality. Do you think you could open your eyes for us, Mr. Natsume? I am not a cat. It worked! He's back in the real world! What's going to become of me? No! Don't enter that! It's obvious! My accursed soul is never going to escape this accursed fate! Mr. Natsume, no! This morning's proceedings in court prove that there's hope. Yes. Welcome to the Mr. Naruto Esquire was brilliant, but the Reaper is omnipresent in court, in my lodgings! Here, there, everywhere! What's he looking straight at me for? I think perhaps there are some things we should discuss. Oh, yes, we must. Okay, let's talk about this morning's trial, and let's try to abstain from being a cat. Not a sentence I thought I was going to say today, but, here we are. In my whole life, have I ever been so moved as I was today? No! Of course, if I cast by my back, there were perhaps one or two other occasions that moved me more. But if I just block those out, then today, being in that courtroom it was the most moving experience of my life! Look at students, Mr. Esquire! You're too kind. Scotland Yard found the remaining tea just to be deduced and are analyzing it as we speak. There's nothing wrong with that tea! They won't find a drop of poison in it. That's a... Solemn! Sworn! Soseki! Certainty! I'll give it a hard pass because it's phonetically illiterate. Tell me, did you both drink the tea at the same time that night? Oh yes, most definitely. Remember, drink the tea while it's hot. We both poured it down our throats like it was a hot bath for our bellies. And at that time, you were both completely fine. As shown by the fact that he and Mr. Shanster then engaged in the Romeo and Juliet match. I suppose the focus of tomorrow's proceedings will be how the poison was taken by the victim then. Alright, let's talk about Mr. Shanster. That rotten Shanster, what have I ever done to him? You don't recall him taking issue with you over anything you've done recently? I've been holed up in my room, immersed in books. I don't recall anything. Anything at all! Right. But what I don't understand is why he didn't let me know sooner. Let you know what, Mr. Natsume? About the soap, of course. What else? Oh, dear. Are you struggling with such a meager stipend? Of course I am! If I had money, I wouldn't have chosen to live in a cursed existence in such accursed lodgings! Oh yes, you said it's because the place is cursed that it's so cheap, didn't you? Exactly! Especially the room that I rent. The spirit of that capital offender who lived there still haunts the place. And it's trying to kill me! Capital offender? Ought to ask locum student Mr. Naruto Esquire that the next time you visit me, you bring scores of super soft soaps! Okay. Let's see if there's anything we can present to him that might kind of jog his memory. What's this? It's a newspaper cutting that we found in Mr. Shanster's room. Ah, so he knew, did he? Sorry? About this man, Selden. A convicted killer. And the evil spirit behind the curse that afflicts my lodgings! What? He's already taken one young man's life, and now he's trying to take the life of another! A miserable, mustachioed, much maligned Japanese man! Mr. Natsume, if you know something, please, you must tell us! Tell us everything you can about this evil spirit! The truth is, I didn't know the details myself until very recently. That Selden man was arrested about a year ago now. And at that time, he was hiding out in lodgings at Mr. Garrideb's house. What? He lived where you do now? That's right, yes. Exactly where I live now. In my very room. Oh my! Your room was previously occupied by a criminal found guilty of a capital offense? But before his sentence could be carried out, he died in prison. That was 3 months ago now. And that's when it started. The curse. What really is this curse you keep mentioning, Mr. Natsume? It's already caused one death, a few months after the criminal passed away in prison. A man died in the room. The man who rented it after Selden, in fact. The poor lodger, he was found dead in mysterious circumstances. The room was locked from the inside. Locked from the inside? Exactly like the case we're dealing with now. So, that's the convict's curse, is it? Yes. Well, that was the start of it. Alright, we need to talk about the convict's curse, my guy. Do you have any idea how the lodger before you passed away, Mr. Natsume? The official cause of death was asphyxia. When they discovered the body, the room was full of gas. Gas? I only found that out after I signed the lease. When Mr. Garrideb came to tell me later, I couldn't stop myself trembling. In fact, if I'd known beforehand, I'd probably have been too scared to take the room. Landlord's lease, luckily legal! Lucky for Mr. Garrideb, maybe, but not so lucky for poor Mr. Natsume. And now you believe this curse is affecting you? It is. At first. I just felt as though I was being watched all the time. And then you talked about having nightmares, didn't you? The dead are trying to take me with them. They come for me and try to suffocate me. Just when I'm struggling to breathe, I wake up. And the room is as cold as ice. But why is your room so cold? London winters are too cold to bear without any heating on overnight. But for some reason, even though I light the stove before I climb into bed at night, the pilot light always goes out and the room fills with gas. But that's terrible. That's exactly the same situation as what led to the previous occupant's death. And then there's what happened to Mr. Shansfield last night, when he was mysteriously poisoned. There's clearly more to that incident that can be explained by a curse, though. Whatever can be the cause of all these strange happenings in Mr. Garrideb's rooms. Okay, I think we've gotten all the information we need, so I think, for now, I'm gonna go back to the Garrideb's and see if he's back there. There we go. Something's definitely different. Ah, you're here now, Mr. Garrideb. Right, bally business isn't for me to, getting out and about. Were you at the Old Bailey by any chance? Naturally, fate of my lodgings hanging the balance and all that. Not a trial to miss. The fate of what's already been dubbed your haunted lodgings. Yes. Of course, the place has caused quite a stir on the capital on more than one occasion already. As the old haunted lodgings or some such. Okay, at first it was Ryunosuke making my commentary redundant. Now he's making Ryunosuke's commentary redundant. Ah, well, at least he knows. Makes you wonder what the place is going on, don't you know? Yes, I'm sure it does. What are you doing here? In fact, thinking back to Mr. Natsume's other trial just 2 days ago, you were at the Old Bailey then as well, weren't you? Testifying with your wife about what happened? Stopped off at the prison on the way home, in fact. Beastly business. I see. So, What brings you to my haunted abode today, eh? Well, let's see what we can glean from him first. Let's talk about your lodgings. Before we talk about the lodgers. Some fishy fellow from the Far East and a faded actor chap of questionable character, eh? Yes, the house does seem to have become something of a magnet for rum fellows of late. Thanks to that bally curse. The convict's curse, you mean? Ah, heard the stories, have you? Rotten scoundrel was arrested here, then the next chap in the room goes and kills over. Then there was that woman who dropped dead just outside on the street, not to mention the actor yesterday. Am I next, eh? Well, can't help but get the collywobbles, can ya? When you say the woman who dropped dead outside on the street, do you mean Miss Green? Because Miss Green, who was stabbed with a knife, and Mr. Chancer, who was poisoned last night, are both very much alive still. Yes, well, so is that blasted convict's curse, it seems. Personally, I should be quite content with such lodgings. We're not moving here. You can move here if you want. I don't want to live here. A bath, a toilet, a fireplace, a fascinating history. Why? It sounds like the lap of luxury. I'm not so sure about that. We're not moving here. Well, there's no bath or toilet God bless! There's no toilets? How do people live here? You have to go somewhere else to take care of your business? This time sucks. But you do look out for your tenants, don't you? By watching the rise and fall of the flames in your gas lamps up here. Yes, never hurts to keep an eye on things, in case there are any mishaps or such like. I think you've had your mishaps already, sir. That's not helpful, Mr. Sholmes. Heaven forgive me, the words just came to my lips. I feel that. Alright, let's talk about the lodgers. Some fishy fellow from the Far East, and a failed actor chap of questionable character, eh? There's no need for that, Mr. Garadeb. That's right. Mr. Natsume is in no way fishy. I mean, he did just say he was a cat earlier, so... That's still debatable. He is undeniably peculiar, however. Is it right that he took the vacancy immediately after the previous tenant passed away? Yes, that's right. I asked the estate agent to find someone, and he popped up the very same day. Never come across a chap so keen for a place with background, as it were. I don't think it was the room's background he was keen on so much as the cheap rent, actually. So, how long has Mr. Chancer been lodging under your roof? That failed actor chap? Let me see. Oh, of course. Yes, it's been 3 months now. Quite sure of it. That, I believe, is no mere coincidence, because those do not exist in Ace Attorney. Only 3 months. He's quite new here too, then. And to what do you owe your certainty in that regard, Mr. Garadeb, if I might ask? Well, it was that Selden scoundrel, as it happens. Selden? The convict, you mean? Do Selden and Chancer have some kind of connection, then? That convict chap, Selden, passed away in the clink 3 months ago now, you see. Say some milady or another. Yes, we've seen the report from the newspaper at the time. Well, it was only 3 days later that the tragedian showed his face. The actor fellow. Really? Yes, I remember it quite distinctly. 'Tis small, this world we inhabit. Prithee, landlord, hear my request.
I, the humble Chancellor, do desire to take thy room on the middle floor offered elsewhere for rent. Terribly sorry, whatnot, but that won't be possible. Already have a lodger on the middle floor. Ground floor room's vacant, though. Nothing can be made out of nothing. Let me repeat mine will unto thee. Those curls must be muffling your ears. The room on the middle floor is taken. It's ground floor and nothing. Very well. We have an accord. Glad to hear it. Welcome to Briar Rock. No, I shall fed dance to celebrate.
That's so weird. He's so weird! From what I heard in court today, it sounds like the chap was thieving gas. And he was 3 months in arrears with the rent too. Yes, the fellow was a bally player, all right. Thank you for your candor, Mr. Gardeb. We're most grateful. By way of appreciation, allow me to say 1 or 2 words. Give me my robe, put on my crown. I have immortal longings in me. Stop! What happened to you? Shakespeare, my dear fellow! One of his most famous lines! I wish to divulge my own learning of the subject, for I have a turn for literature too, you know. Perhaps you could turn your attention to more apt lines then. Okay. Now, before we leave, I do want to try... because I assume he has to know the gentleman on the right, so let's see if he knows something. Mr. Gardeb, could I ask you to look at this photograph? Is that your son who's with you there? No, not at all. He was a lodger here once. Duncan Ross was his name. Duncan Ross. A street photographer happened to be passing, so I asked him to take a shot. Just for kicks, really. Was he here? Was he by any chance the lodger before Mr. Natsume? Yes, that's right. Ah, the young gentleman who died in the room in mysterious circumstances. Just what Mr. Musashi was waiting for, one might say. Yes, young Duncan lived in the room at the top of the first flight of stairs before that Japanese chap. Would you mind telling us a little more about him? Aha, there we go. Yes, Duncan Ross. Young chap was attending art school, had a work to pay for it, mind. Moved into the middle floor room about a year ago, after that criminal Selden was arrested. Young students are always on the hunt for rooms with a history behind them. A history of cheap rent, maybe, yes. Yes, well, anyway, it was one morning about a month ago now. Hadn't quite worked out the old trick of watching the gas lamps to see what my lodgers were up to at the time. So sadly, I was rather tardy to discover what had happened. Smell of gas that altered me, that it was. Or alerted me. Ah yes, synonymous with the smell of death. Called the police straight away, of course, and the officer kicked the door off its hinges. But once we got inside, we all bally collapsed. Because of the gas? Yes, the room was full of it. No air at all. Stove must have gone out while the poor chap was sleeping in his bed. So Mr. Ross suffocated to death. Of course, the police gave me a sound ticking off because the gas pipes were so old and all that. Can't tell you how much it sent me back to have the lot replaced all over the house. But even after you had all that work done, Mr. Natsume says the same thing. That the stove goes out at night while he's asleep in bed. Well, that's the bully curse! The convict's curse! I've done my duty as a landlord now. Someone's feeling defensive. Ah, that reminds me actually. Yes? About young Duncan, the night before the poor chap perished. He had been writing a letter of affection to a young lady. A love letter, you mean? Yes, where did I put it now? kept it? Ah, here it is. Left it on my desk. Why did you keep it? If you'll excuse me, let me see now. What does it say? To my most beautiful and charming sweetheart. Do you think that we should be reading such a personal piece of correspondence? My dear Mrs. Zato, that's precisely why I preface my reading with, if you'll excuse me. I can't really argue with that. He did give the preface. I will not excuse you, Mr. Sholmes. No. Sadly, he didn't address it, though. So I have no means of delivering the thing. That's sad, really. I see. That's going to play on my mind. But really, the identity of Mr. Ross's sweetheart has no bearing on the case. I think we should leave well alone. Yes, I suppose you're right. Indeed, the intended recipient's address is missing. However, there is a name attributed to the man's most beautiful and charming sweetheart. Mr. Sholmes, please, I've already had to chastise you about this once. My undying love to you, my colorful darling. Olive green. Huh? Olive green? The woman who was plunged into a coma after a knife plunged into her back outside this house 5 days ago! The victim of the last case Soseki-san was in court for, who regained consciousness only yesterday. Is this just chance that her name has come up now? Could it possibly be a mere coincidence? Mr. Naruhodo, whatever can this mean? Reading personal correspondence can have its merits, you see, Mr. Zato. Okay, well, I think we're done here. I believe we have taken care of all the business we needed to. So, I'm gonna check a few, well, let's check Miss Green's hospital bed, actually, now that we've established this info. Oh, is she not here? Mr. Naruhodo, I've just finished speaking with the doctor. It seems Miss Green is well enough to be discharged at last. This is good news, but hopefully just before she leaves. Ah! What is it? Whoa! Whoa, Miss Green! What was that? She clearly just hit something behind her back. One moment. I'll be with you in a jiffy. Whoa, hey now. Let's not be doing that. Oh, hello everyone. What are you all doing here? The doctor has said I can be discharged, so I'm just getting my things together. Miss Green, what were you just doing? Oh, nothing, really. I was just about to take some medicine the doctor prescribed for me, that's all. Well, we were hoping to have another quick chat with you if it's alright. I don't really have anything else to tell you. Alright, she's definitely behaving strangely. Let's see if we can't coax something out of her. Let's just talk about the hospital discharge for now. It's wonderful news that you're going to be discharged, Miss Green. Oh yes, I mean, thank you. Once people are better, the hospital staff don't want them lingering and wasting space. Not people like me, anyway. So I don't think I should keep anyone waiting. Although shouldn't stand around and chat. She certainly doesn't seem to be in the mood to talk, that's for sure. Okay, well, let's present her with something. I guess we can try the photo. Miss Green, we were hoping to ask you about someone. Mr. Duncan Ross. You knew him, didn't you? Oh no! I'm so sorry. The bottle of medicine fell down when she did. Oh, Miss Green! Are you alright? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to startle you like that. No, it's alright. I just wasn't expecting it. But how do you know about Duncan? Mr. Ross had been writing a letter when he passed away. The landlord found it in his room. It was a very personal letter to you. It was at the art school. That's where I met Duncan, a year ago now. He was working to fund his studies. He dreamt of becoming a professional artist one day. And the two of you became romantically involved? Yes, that's right. We were very much in love. We were engaged to be married, actually. Okay, so he wasn't your husband, but he was going to be. Alright. That's why he decided to move into a cheaper room, to save money for the wedding. And that's what led him to Mr. Garrideb's. Yes, he told me he found the worst but cheapest room in the entire East End. And then, 1 month ago, that's when it happened. We're so terribly sorry, Miss Green. Well, it's all in the past now, I suppose. Poor Miss Green. She looks desperately sad. I was starting to think that it's just her look. But now I see that she has every reason to feel the universe is against her. I do hope you won't think I'm being rude, but... would you mind leaving me in peace now? I have to leave the hospital soon. Oh, I'm so sorry. We didn't mean to hold you up. Of course, we'll be on our way. Mr. Naruhodo! Surely you are not about to leave. That's quite out of the question. Alright, I just noticed something on the floor, but we'll get to that in a second. What? Mr. Sholmes! I didn't realize you were here! But of course I was, my dear fellow. Watching intently from the shadows, as always. Well, make your presence known next time. Mr. Sholmes, what's this about? Something which occurs to me with some regularity, Mr. Sato, is this. Why do detectives insist on such an ex post facto modus operandi? Why solve a case after it's happened, instead of preventing a case before it happens? That is what sets a great detective apart. What do you mean? There is a case waiting to happen under our very noses, Mr. Naruhodo. So let's avert disaster. Let us prevent this case from ever happening, with nothing but careful observation. Alright. All the clues you need are set before you. You need only look, and you cannot fail to see. You can do it, Mr. Naruhodo. I know you can. Alright, well, the rat has passed away. It is no longer on this mortal plane. It has ascended beyond to rat heaven. That mouse seems to be dead. Look, I didn't notice it there before, did you? I think perhaps it drank the medicine that spilled out of the bottle. But that's the bottle that Miss Green was about to drink from when we arrived. You don't think. Ah, I see you've come to appreciate the true nature of this scene. That of a tragedy about to take place. Yes, I think it's falling into place. Miss Green, the contents of the bottle you had before has spilled out on the floor. And the poor mouse that drank it has sadly died. Ah! I think it's clear that the bottle must have contained a powerful poison. Don't worry. I will attend to the mouse presently. God bless! Sudato, that is not your job! The God! Miss Green, were you intending to go the same way as that rodent? To take your own life? Huh? Once we'd left, you would have put it to your lips again, wouldn't you? and taken the poison? No! Miss Green, please! Please talk to us! Okay, before we talk to her, I want to make note of that, too. It definitely feels as though this card must be relevant. I mean, when we first arrived, Miss Green was standing with it in her hand in what can only be described as a very tense atmosphere. Yes, it may very well be related to whatever incident Mr. Shones believes was about to happen here. I believe that we have possibly done this out of order. Perhaps we should ask Miss Green about it. Okay, so gotten that taken care of. Let's move on. Let's talk about the card first. Let's address one thing at a time here. Neither the sender's name or address appear to be written on the envelope or the card. It arrived by post at my home the day before the incident that put me in the hospital here. I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross. Come to the Slug and Salad on Briar Road at 5 p.m. on the 17th. Don't tell anybody else about this letter or the meeting. It is a matter of utmost importance. Wait a minute. The 17th of this month? That's the day you were stabbed on Briar Road! And 5 p.m. is precisely the time when the incident occurred. The Slug and Salad, yes. A pub on the northern corner of Briar Road. Briar Road being the street that Mr. Garrett's house is on. Does this mean that... Yes, I'm sure you've guessed. That day, when I was stuck on the back by the knife, I was actually on my way to the Slug and Salad. Goodness! So that's what you were doing on Briar Road that day. I'm sorry I didn't say anything before. Okay, let's talk about the other thing. 10 seconds later, and we would have arrived at a very different scene here. In all probability, we would not have enjoyed this most delightful conversation. Of course, perhaps it hasn't been so delightful from your perspective, Miss Green. Actually, in a way, now that everything's out in the open, I feel like a weight has been lifted. Tell me, how'd you acquire that medicine? Well, with this being a hospital and all, when the doctor comes to examine me in the mornings, he always leaves the medicine cabinet open for a while, so I snuck this out when he wasn't looking. It conspicuously lacks a label. I wonder what it contains. I'm afraid I don't really know. But I thought if I drank it, it might just stop the pain somehow. Oh, God. Oh. Okay, yeah, Ed Irvin, stop the music. Real talk for a second, guys. It's never the solution, alright? Don't ever consider doing this. No matter what pain you're going through, there's always a better solution than committing suicide. And like I've done for a couple other specific videos, I think I'll go ahead and take the liberty of putting some links in the description to helpful resources should you be considering such a decision yourself. Let's continue on. Oh, please, Miss Green, don't talk of such things. See, don't make Susato cry. You want her to cry? Well, it seems clear now that it contains poison. Yes, that poor little mouse is proof of that. Oh no. Oh, it's all my fault. What have I done? It's just a mouse. I shall remove this to my office, Miss Green. I take it you have no objection? No, none. I think I really will have to ask you to excuse me now. No, I will not do that, thank you. You tried to kill yourself. I'm not leaving you alone for a minute. I told you everything. Yes, I'm very sorry to have dragged up such painful memories for you. No, it's fine. Miss Green, please, promise us you won't try to do anything like that again. Yes, don't worry. Your detective friend has the bottle now anyway. And besides, I've been stabbed in the back and had a close shave with a bottle of poison, and I'm still here. I think I'm destined to see things through to the end. It might sound a little conceited, but, well, that's how all of this has made me feel. Leaving Miss Green and St. Bartholomew's behind, we made our way back to Baker Street with Mr. Sholmes. Well, it would appear we've reached the end of the investigative trial for today. Yes, it's late. And, Mr. Naruhodo, did you discover anything that may be of use to you in court tomorrow, do you think? Details about Mr. Shamsphere, Mr. Garrett's lodgings, the convict Selden. There are many facets to this case, and we're yet to see the heart of it, if you ask me. That's my feeling, anyway. I can't help wondering about the results of the analysis. In Mr. Natsume's tea, you mean? Yes. Will they have found, strychnine in it or not? I hate that word. Well, I fear that either way, it will be hard to escape the grip of our friend, Mr. Reaper. Oh dear. Yes, Beric Van Zeeks. But I wish you every success, of course. And though I was late to rise this morning, tomorrow will be a new dawn. I intend to spring from my bed at a crisp hour and attend the trial. Mr. Sholmes, you're going to come? Indeed. Whatever happens, I shall be there. Assuming my eyelids cooperate in the morning. Well, I think we've done all we can. All that's left is to remain focused and keep fighting for Mr. Natsume's cause until the very end. London, the world's most prosperous city, home to some 6 million people. But away from the razzle-dazzle, down back alleys and behind brickled-up windows, the lonely lurk. Soseki-san had battled long and hard with loneliness during his many months here. And so I felt honor-bound to battle equally hard for my compatriot, to lift the curse that gripped him. As Mr. Sholmes said, tomorrow would be a new dawn for all of us.